If you're trying to build or maintain muscle mass, stop relying on one heroic meal, which is typically dinner. Think of protein like a light switch for muscle protein synthesis, the process that tells your body to build or preserve muscle mass. Once you flip it, the room is lit and muscle protein synthesis stays on for 3 to 5 hours, depending on several factors. Flipping the switch harder won't keep the lights on longer. But that's exactly what people try to do with protein. They eat basically a snack for breakfast, some sort of carb-heavy lunch, and then try to win the day back with this massive dinner like they're trying to make up for lost time. But your muscles don't work on one heroic meal, they work on repeat signals. So if you're trying to build or maintain muscle mass, there's a better question you should ask than how much protein should I eat in one day? And that question is this: am I getting enough protein per meal to flip the switch more than once a day? In the next few minutes, I'm gonna give you 3 things. First, why dinner doesn't fix a low protein day, and why the one meal protein dump is the least efficient way you can approach this problem. Number 2, the simplest target that actually matters: 30 grams of protein per meal. This is the practical dose that delivers enough leucine to trigger the muscle protein synthesis process. And third, how to apply this without tracking using a simple protein anchors approach. So let's start with the first mistake that almost everyone makes: protein debt. Imagine 2 people with the same goal. They want to look better, they want to get stronger, and they want to preserve their muscle mass. They both train a few days a week with a similar effort and the same schedule. Person A wakes up, they grab a coffee and a pastry. Lunch is decent, but it's still not hitting that 30 grams of protein threshold. And then dinner shows up like the hero and they try to crush their protein goal. Person B doesn't obsess over their daily totals. They simply hit their protein target at 2 or more meals a day, and maybe they add a protein shake after their workouts. Fast forward 8 to 12 weeks, and person B is gonna look better, they're gonna recover faster, and they're probably gonna have better strength gains. But it's not because they trained harder or they had better genetics. It's simply because they stopped accumulating a protein debt all day long and then trying to pay it off every night. They gave their body multiple chances to build throughout the day instead of trying to get one construction permit at the end of the night. And that leads to the real question behind this video: how much protein do you really need? Most people think the answer is one really big number, but the smarter answer is simpler. Can you hit enough protein per meal to flip the switch more than once a day? So here's the mindset shift that makes getting your protein goals way easier. Instead of asking and tracking to see if you're hitting this massive protein number on a daily basis, simply ask yourself this question: am I getting enough protein at this meal to trigger muscle protein synthesis? Because muscle isn't built with the perfect plan or the perfect workout, the perfect meal. It's built by repeating the signal over and over again. And that's why for most busy adults, we recommend trying to hit this simple target. Aim for 30 grams of protein at every meal. And not because it's magical, but because 30 grams of protein contains enough of the amino acid leucine to trigger muscle protein synthesis. And MPS is what signals your body to build or preserve muscle. You're flipping the switch multiple times a day. It's like being Motel 6 for your muscles. You're leaving the light on for them. So let's keep the science simple. So when you eat a meal of 30 grams of protein, you're consuming enough of the amino acid leucine to trigger the muscle protein synthesis process, which sounds kind of sciencey. But muscle protein synthesis is what tells your body to build and repair muscle. So here's the part where people miss. Once you flip the switch and you've turned the lights on for MPS, you can't turn them on brighter. So it's not that more protein is bad. Studies have just shown that you're better off if you can spread it out farther across the day. Having muscle protein synthesis activated for a longer period of time is significantly better than only activating it once a day. If you're only getting one meal a day that triggers MPS, you're simply not getting your return on protein investment. And that's why the 30 grams per meal target works so well. It allows you to flip the switch multiple times per day. You're not trying to create one perfect meal, you're trying to create multiple muscle building opportunities. So if you actually want this to work in your real life, here's the protein anchor framework. What are the 2 to 3 protein anchors that you can include in your diet? It could be chicken, lean beef, fish, some vegetarian sources. But what are the ones that you can consistently eat on a regular basis? Now you're gonna wanna find 2, maybe 3 meals a day where you can consume these protein anchors with at least 30 grams of protein. You're gonna wanna make these non-negotiable, and for most busy people, 2 meals a day is the sweet spot. That's 2 times a day, you're getting in 30 grams of protein. If you're training hard or dieting or you're just struggling to stay consistent, maybe adding a third anchor could help, but don't feel like you need to force another meal into the equation. And this is where, for busy people, 2 seems to be the magic number. Most people don't have a protein problem as much as they have a protein distribution problem because they're trying to consume it all in one meal. They're underdosing early, accumulating that protein debt, and then trying to make up for it at dinner. So the easiest approach for most people is to identify the 2 meals a day where you can eat consistently and hit that 30 gram of protein target. And so ideally, these meals are spaced 3 hours or more apart so that you can keep the lights on longer. This spikes muscle protein synthesis for a longer period of time and will significantly improve your results. Adding a protein shake or another high protein meal after your workouts is the perfect addition to your existing plan of 2 meals a day with 30 grams of protein. If you're wondering what you should eat after your workouts, this next video breaks it down for you so you can optimize your results. Just click the video above to watch what to eat after your workout. So instead of asking yourself, how much protein do you really need on a daily basis, start focusing on hitting that 30 gram of protein per meal target. Your goal is to hit 30 grams of protein at 2 or more meals every single day. That flips the light switch multiple times a day instead of relying on one heroic protein dinner. You don't need the perfect plan, you simply need a repeatable system.